You never met a man like me. You wouldn't understand. I'm in a rock and roll business, honey. Well, I'm in a rock and roll band.
Good morning. Welcome to the Rockstar Fitness Podcast, proudly in association with the Fat Loss Fat Lane and whatever the hell Simon's calling his business, which is what, Simon?
Maid coaching.
Maid coaching. Yes, fantastic. So, to my co-hosts, welcome. Welcome. I said this before we got on the call. It feels like we're three mini robots that have come together to form one giant robot. We are the literal Voltron of the fitness industry. Fuck yeah.
Not Bumblebee.
Not Bumblebee. I mean, I don't know why you're obsessed with Transformers when we're talking about Voltron, but don't worry about it. Anyway, this morning I am out of my Zero Fox Given mug. Rob, what have you got?
We got budget shipping containers.
Budget shipping containers.
Contractually obliged once a year to mention them on social media.
Sponsored.
Mug.
Your sponsorship money.
And Simon, I'm afraid to ask.
I'm as middle class as they come with my little wanky Nespresso.
That's just yeah. Anyway, anyway. So, well, what can we say? Donuts for vaccinations, Rob.
You know what? I made a pact with myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue with anyone on the internet this year.
Yeah.
And I was just under two and a half months sober until this morning, when obviously I'm a very anti giving away free donuts for getting vaccinated. And there's now a pushback from what I would call gentle PTs.
Yeah.
Who were saying, I was fine, just, you know, if you want a donut, you can have a donut. It's not going to ruin your diet. And yeah, of course, yeah, that's fine. But it's not a donut. It's a free donut every day for a year after.
365 donuts?
What?
365 fucking donuts.
Get me a jab.
I get that over here.
Mate, I think it's US only at the moment. I think. That doesn't mean the UK won't adopt it.
I mean, that's the reason I moved to the States right there. 365 donuts for getting a jab. I am down on that.
So yeah,
hey, David, I could get a donut for get a vaccine for 365 donuts.
I mean, Krispy Kremes are all right, but you know,
right, we could do better than that. I'd want more.
Free Krispy Kremes though. I mean, I wouldn't buy one. I wouldn't pay for one.
Yeah. So extremely triggered me, and yeah, I broke my pact with myself.
Now, Rinkoff's Bakery started offering cronuts. Oh dear. Be game over. Those things are incredible.
Can I get more than one vaccine? Can I get it multiple times a year?
I've had two. So
I'm the most vaccinated man in the UK.
I think this leads into the first thing we're going to talk about, which is today going to be, what did Thanos get wrong? Well, ladies and gentlemen, clearly point one, the first thing Thanos got wrong was he didn't kill all the fuckwits. Gone. Well, you know, I think ignoring the temporal bullshit, where nobody seems to really quite get their head around, changing the past changes the future means you can't have this fight. I think not getting rid of all the idiots was what Thanos got wrong. That's my opinion. You know, and have you got someone else?
For me, it's the fact that he tried, and I've thought long and hard about this, the fact that he's tried to achieve balance in the click of a finger.
You're right. That takes 5 clicks.
Where it went wrong. It takes time. You've got to learn about yourself. You've got to learn what works for you, what works for other people, what you think will work for other people won't necessarily work for other people. And if he'd thought about it if he'd really thought about it as he clicked his fingers, he wouldn't have done it so randomly. He would have got rid of the Avengers, the people that could stop him, because they were right there in front of him when he clicked. So
Not half the Avengers.
they're the first people I would have got rid of, really.
Yeah, it's an easy fix, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're all going first.
Mm.
Yeah.
In fact, he didn't even have to get rid of half the universe. Just the Avengers would have worked. He would have been fine.
I think that considering the series of movies that they were in, they were essentially a magnet for trouble. So you have a point.
Like I say, I've thought long and hard. I have many notepads filled out with
You have many notepads.
my hypotheses about what did Thanos get wrong, just on that subject alone. You know. Yeah.
Now, Rob, I've known Simon since 2013, and I think he knows what's coming.
I know what's coming.
Simon, why are you no bigger? Now, I happen to know that Simon was on another podcast, right? And he was quoting some numbers and talking about how he gained a whole bunch of muscle, and I called him on it. And he I called him and the person that hosted the podcast.
You know, like the answer's always in the middle here, right? There's sort of truth on both sides of this. Like
Gained it, lost it.
Yeah, the stats weren't wrong. I gained it in the first half of that time, and then it all sort of disappeared, and I've not done anything in the last 5 years. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
So last time Rob was on, I peer pressured him into booking a photo shoot and getting himself in shape. So you gonna put on some size now?
Mate, yeah. Fresh start, new gym. Time to put on some muscle, I think.
Excellent. And then do what?
Training.
Then do some men's bikini.
Maybe some men's bikini, or just become Thanos myself and just do it right now. I've got all the tips.
I think you're gonna have to spend a bit of time collecting some stones, mate.
Yeah, maybe so. I'll start now. I'll see you in about 300 years.
So nonsense aside, I think the next thing we were going to talk about was a suggestion of Simon's, which is why keto sucks balls. And if you've tried it and you've done it properly, you know it sucks balls. As an approach, Simon, why did you pick this as something you wanted to talk about?
I just get the sense it's going to become a fad again, in the mixture of like pure keto and carnivore. Tends to be, you know, after Joe Rogan start the carnivore diet, keto and carnivore both come back into the news, and I think there's a lot of people thinking it's the magic bullet and the magic pill, and I certainly don't think it is, from both the it sucks balls because it sucks and it's not fun argument, but also from actually, you know, like from the argument of like it's probably not the most efficient way for the majority of people to get to their goals.
Have you?
I don't know, what do you think?
Have you tried it?
I have tried it, yeah.
Rob,
I've tried it, and I've tried it intermittently as well, which I think is worse. And we can go on to
you mean the cyclical keto where you have the weekend refeeds?
I've done both, but I think the cyclical's worse.
That's worse. Definitely.
Much worse.
No, God. So I mean, I did both, and I did the cyclical keto for about 18 weeks, right? And it's 18 weeks of getting up every Monday feeling like you've got the worst hangover from the carbs because of all the fluid dynamics that goes on with it, and feeling like crap for 3 days a week, every week, before you start to somewhat feel normal again, and then repeat the process.
I went into it feels like if you put like the world's worst hangover and mix that with a come down together, that's what the cyclical keto feels Monday through Wednesday. You just feel lethargic, drained, miserable. Like, nah, like, never again.
I'm not sure.
Can we explain what it is, for case people don't know what we're talking about?
Go ahead, knock yourself out.
Like the version of it I did was sort of Lyle McDonald's Ultimate Diet 2.0, the book, and it sounded great at the time, right? Where you basically do in this case, a protein sparing modified fast through 5 to 6 days a week. So low carb, low fat, moderate protein. So pretty much a keto approach, but the fat's a little bit lower. And then you do a couple of 1 to 2 days of crazy refeed binges. I'm talking ice cream, pizza, donuts, that's when you have your 365 donuts. And then you feel like death on Monday and start it all over again, trying to get yourself back into a position of potentially ketosis, although I never pissed on a strip, so I never knew for sure.
Rob?
Did you add JP on that?
Well, again, I've never pissed on a strip. So could
I bet
if
you've
I
got
pissed on a
that.
street, several streets, but never a strip or a stripper, maybe once. But I've done it. But could you say I've actually done it? No, because I've never pissed on a strip and said I was actually in ketosis. But I can see the initial appeal is you're going, oh my God, I can eat all this steak, I can have all these eggs. I don't necessarily have to count calories. I can have chicken thighs all the time instead of chicken breast.
Yeah,
man, this is great. And then comes the inevitable downfall afterwards. And the next thing you know, you're Googling 100 different keto desserts to try just to feel like a human being again.
Just like our caveman ancestors had, the paleo cookies, our caveman ancestor cookies.
Keto cookies, all the sorbitol, all the, and you're like, that's when I stopped. I lasted 3 months. And I remember I made this keto cheesecake because I'm a cheesecake guy. If they offered cheesecake for vaccines, I wouldn't be complaining. But I made this thing and it must have taken like 20 extra ingredients I had to order on Amazon because you can't get in this country for me to make this thing. And I was like, okay, better be worth it. Came out and it looked all right. And it was, pretty high fat, moderate protein, like not much carbs at all. And then I took one bite and was like, what have I done with my life?
Questioning every decision.
Yeah. And I had this entire cheesecake in front of me. Normally I'm not a food waster. If I make a dessert and I'm not going to eat it all, I give the rest away, whether that's neighbors, family, friends, etc. This thing, I didn't want anyone judging me, so it went straight in the bin. Didn't want my neighbours thinking that's how I eat. So that was it. Never went back. Carbs for life.
So I mean, I've done the sort of proper keto where you actually keep an eye on how many grams of fats and how many, what sort of percentages you're eating. And yeah, you feel a bit crap for the first sort of week or so, and then it clears up, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I've got lots of energy. When your body sort of gets a little bit more adapted to it, but it's like a false sense of wellness. It's just that you felt so much worse during the first week that anything improved is going to make you think that you feel fantastic. Whereas, and I've done, dieted, I've tried pretty much everything because I like to, with the exception of intermittent fasting, which I refuse to do. Not because I don't think it works, but simply because I don't see the point of starving yourself all day and removing all that signaling for muscle protein synthesis. That's a bunch of feedings that you're missing out on. It's a bunch of spikes in muscle protein synthesis that you're missing out on. It's the reason why we don't eat one meal a day, because it would result in too much protein turnover. We'd all end up with very small, very sort of slight muscles. I've tried pretty much everything. I like to give everything the benefit of the doubt, but we all know why these things work, right? And it's simply because it helps you to create a sustainable calorie deficit. Like low carbs are easy because it doesn't require much thought, right? Keto is easy because it doesn't require much thought. Paleo, the same thing. You don't really have to think about it too much. But we talked about this before, Rob, right? When you do put a little bit of thought in, and when you do keep an eye on what you're eating, then it opens up possibilities for you to eat, things like donuts, to eat things that you don't maybe not necessarily think of as diet foods. And it's not looking for excuses to eat shit. It's just that why would you want to spend who wants to spend their entire life like in a crazy strict diet? Who wants to spend like 3 months eating chicken and broccoli? Fuck that. Like, if you can do it whilst having, like Simon, you know about this from before, right? Well, I did those 2 shows in 2019, and I had 2 Five Guys double bacon cheeseburgers with large fries and a Coca-Cola every Sunday, like right up until 4 weeks out. Why would I suffer needlessly when I could get in shape having 2 big fucking burgers every week? Why would I needlessly suffer?
I also think when we're saying that it's there to create sustainable calorie deficit, and I think low carbs ever is slightly different. But I think unless you're for true beginners that don't really know much about what the calorie content is in food and portion control, I think often people end up really disappointed on keto because they go, I follow keto perfectly. Why have I not lost a pound in the last 12 weeks? It's because they've eaten like 20 kilos worth of almonds in the space of 24 hours. And people go, oh, well, it's good fats. And I think you see that more in keto because there's a license to eat oil just by the bottle, and I think it leaves more people disappointed than it actually gets success out.
Guzzling oil.
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah, I did that. Dear God.
Great audio only listener, isn't it?
When I say sustainable in that respect, it's more kind of sustainable for a period of time where you can get through to an outcome. I don't mean sustainable in the long term, because I don't think it is. I think anybody that's going to eat that way is going to run into all sorts of micronutrient deficiencies, be really unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. I also think we talk about the cookies. Just you talk about like the paleo cookies and the keto cookies. As you said, why suffer unnecessarily when we all know a keto cookie does not taste like a Millie's cookie or a Subway cookie, which is my personal favorite. Why would I have a keto one instead, which is probably the same calories anyway? It just tastes like cardboard.
Like, yeah, and avocado, cardboard and avocado with chocolate powder on it.
Can't wait.
I think that with a lot of these kind of,
no one would get a vaccine for that.
These kind of ways of eating, right? You got your plant-based, you got keto, you got the carnivore diet, and each one of them tries to come up with alternative forms of food, right? So, with like the vegan stuff, right? Vegan sausages. Why not just like why do you need a fake sausage? Like, I don't have any problems with people eating, plant-based diets and being vegan. In fact, I just took on a new client that's vegan through the week, but plant-based at the weekend. So he's like vegetarian at the weekend. So he's a little bit more flexible the weekends. So I don't have a problem with that. Like, you do it for whatever reasons you want to do it, even if you want to call it for health purposes. Like, we all know that's not really the case, but whatever rationale you use to decide that you can eat plant-based, if that's what you choose to do, so be it. But stop making up fake foods. Like, stop making up, like, a sausage is a sausage. Like, call it something different. Don't call it vegan cheese. Call it like something else. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear like you've got a name for it. Call it V's.
Yeah. I always think this is really weird. Like I don't know if any of you guys can see this, but the new not impossible meat, but remember that one that's like it bleeds. You cut into it and it's completely vegan, but it bleeds like steak. And if you're vegan for ethical reasons, if that's your thing, if you're not vegan for health, do you want something that bleeds, whether it's vegan or not? Like, I don't want a burger substitute. I've chosen I don't want that. I don't want to be reminded of that. So why don't I just have a broccoli burger? I don't get the logic.
Perhaps it's because there are people that are converting to veganism that haven't, like, they're not kind of really got their head around what it is. They think that they're just trying to replace what they eat right now with something different. And I can get that, I suppose. I mean, like if you're used to eating a certain way and all of a sudden you don't eat that way anymore, you kind of still want something that makes you feel a little bit like normal for you. But I just think commit to it. It's like, it's like anything in life, commit to it. Like,
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, do it. Don't fuck about with like vegan sausages. Like, call it something different. Like a I don't know, like a nut loaf, you know?
I mean, is that less phallic than a vegan sausage? I don't know, but
It's phallic. I'm trying to make it nut roll. A nut roll, right?
Yeah, not a nut roll.
Nut
Schlong.
A nut tube. There we go.
Your branding career is your marketing career is awaiting you, man.
All over it, bud. I'm all over it.
All right. What's next on our agenda, JP?
Huh?
What's next on our agenda?
I mean, I think we're kind of. I mean, obviously, we like, as if you heard anything about what we did last time. We like to freelance a little bit. We like to freestyle and get a little bit wild. I wanted to ask what lockdown has taught you, because it's everything that we do in life is a learning experience. Like I sort of explained that to Simon back when my dad passed away, that the whole thing was I look for silver linings. I look for what's the lesson. Where can I pick up a positive here, even in the worst possible scenarios. So, what has lockdown taught you? I mean, it's been very different for Simon versus us. He's had different styles of lockdown, and I think more of them. I'm not sure though.
More of them, less severe. Yeah.
So, what have you picked up from it? What's the takeaway?
Rob, I'll let you take it first, man.
Going to get deep. So very, very similar to you though, JP. It's okay, this big horrific thing changed everyone's lives, but whereas there's a gift in there, there's always a gift in there, and if you are willing to look for it, you can find it. And that doesn't mean there's some massive happy ending. If someone's really going through the shit, like you say, well, how could you find a silver lining in your old man passing away? To a lot of people, that's not going to make any sense. Yeah. But to you, whatever you found is going to make perfect sense.
Yeah, and my some of my silver linings won't make sense at all to people because they're very me, and I'm weird. So
now my lockdown begun just as my marriage broke down as well. So I could have gone into a very, very dark place throughout that entire lockdown and gone into victim mode and woe is me and life's fucking bullshit because all this stuff's happening. But I've come out of lockdown, and several people have said this to me, the most positive I've ever been in my 38 years on this planet. And there's not an ounce of me that's like, oh yeah, I'm divorced away from shit expert. It's like, that's nothing to do with it at all, because that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
What it's taught me is look for, there's always a lesson or a gift. And if you're willing to look for it and accept it, not be a little baby and go, oh, I don't want that. If you're willing to look for it, accept it, like that can change you profoundly. But it's really, really taught me, where's my focus going? Where's my attention 90% of the day? Is it on the things I want to put it on that's going to improve my life, or is it other people taking my attention? And having that pause button of not being in the gym environment 14 hours a day has given me enough time to work on myself to direct where my focus and my attention goes a little bit.
Yeah.
And that steered me better than anything else.
Simon.
I mean, like I've, obviously compared to those two stories, I've had, an all right lockdown, and we for people who don't know me on this, I'm living in Hong Kong and in the UK, so we haven't had a full-on lockdown. But I suppose for me, like one of the big things I've learned is the importance of social interaction. Like I'm quite, and like a similar way when I get my head screwed in on a diet, and JP, you've seen this, I can be quite tunnel vision when I get my mind on something, and I'm just, my fiance now, it's a weird thing, still weird thing to say, is very much I'll call my mum 2-3 times a week kind of person. Where I'm like, crap, it's been 6 weeks, I should really call my mum. And I just get focusing on what's in front of me and what my day is today and get caught up in the now. And I thought what I've learned through lockdown is like how, like, everyone talks at the moment about the negatives of social media and, you know, the social dilemma coming out and all the bad things about it. But I've realized in lockdown how amazingly powerful social media still is for what it was initially designed for before it went crazy. And that's to bring people together. I have spent more time reconnecting with friends that I probably hadn't spoken to anywhere near enough prior to lockdown. I have met people that I've met solely through lockdown, essentially. Like, I was on a call a second ago with Paul Stanwell, really, really good guy, new member of the Muscle Mentors. Met him entirely through Instagram. Marat, who's now at UP Dubai, met entirely through Instagram through lockdown, despite once when I did his job interview. And Rob, on this call, we both work for the same company, but I only really got to know you through Instagram. And I feel like it's given me that platform to sort of reach out to people. I've got almost improved my social network through this time. And I think there's one thing I definitely don't want to take for granted. In times during lockdown, there have been times where I've had a great time, times where I've really struggled mentally and physically. And I think having that ability to always have somebody to connect with has been an absolute game changer that got me through some of I haven't had any real dark times during lockdown, but some of the more challenging times.
Yeah.
I think that's something I want to make sure I don't forget when the world starts opening up again.
Well, I think for me, I probably would like to say that it's shown me that I don't dislike human beings as much as I thought I did, but that's not true. I've been effectively following lockdown for about 40 odd years and just staying away from people. But no, I think Victoria and I, we went through, like, lockdown wasn't the worst thing that's happened to us in the last sort of 14 months. So we've been through a lot, and the fact that, you know, it's just the two of us, with, you know, you don't have all the other people getting involved. It's been really good from a communication point of view, because you sort of get to the end of a period of time where, you know, the worst things that could possibly happen have happened, and you realize that the two of you are actually as a couple stronger, and you're like, okay, you know, we've got this. So that was really, really cool. I think the biggest thing though is just that I like my training simple, like that. So just for me, the biggest thing I've learned is that, you know, I like my training simple. I have my office, you know, it's basic. I've got a power rack, I've got some dumbbells, I've got bars and plates, but there's none of the fancy machines and bits, you know. And I've enjoyed training more during lockdown, and I've actually been, with the exception of having had to have a bit of a break and a little bit of a misfire since having COVID, it's been the most consistent period of training that I've had. So you know, I don't really intend to go back to training in a gym when this is all over. I'm going to continue training in my little dungeon. You know?
Why would you? That dungeon's epic. I'm so jealous. You don't get space. Like, even if I had the money to set this all up, in Hong Kong, you get like the size of a postage stamp is most flats. Like, I am so jealous of your little setup.
I mean, I'll tell you what would help, Simon. It's, from my point of view, looking at you, right? It's
here it comes.
That wardrobe behind you that looks like it's filled with Hawaiian shirts. Right?
Yeah. Just looking at that as well.
That's my dress collection.
I mean, if we removed that, you would have more space.
Yeah, that's my dress collection. So, like, you know, when Ellie gets a nice dress from one room, this is my dress collection.
If it wasn't for your penchant for Hawaiian shirts, you'd be in business.
I wish they were Hawaiian shirts. I need more Hawaiian shirts.
Everybody.
Summer's coming. Summer's coming. Like, I'm going to spend tomorrow on a tropical island. I need a Hawaiian shirt. I might get one.
Everybody.
Try to play. Wear on the next episode.
No, I mean, it's a fair point. We've got like, we're really lucky. The space we had to put this in was pretty epic. This is the smallest room that we have. So, so for it to be big enough to fit a full rack, full length 7-foot Olympic bar, you know, the other toys. Like, if I just I'm going to tell you, like,
Great audio content here.
Yeah. Brilliant, right? You guys, if you're listening to this, I just showed them the rack that has all the plates and dumbbells and bits and pieces. So yeah. And I'm gonna replace, we've got this Reebok exercise bike, right? That Victoria bought for prep, and I'm gonna replace that. I'm gonna get like an air assault bike because I won't use this. Like I think I've used it. I've used it twice, and we've had it since prep for 2019 shows, and I don't intend to use it. So to me, I look at it and it annoys me because it's in the space. So I'm gonna replace it with one of the air assault bikes. So I will use that. They're nasty, and I prefer nasty. Other than that, I was thinking about maybe picking up a trap bar, like one of the open back ones. But that's about it, really. Maybe one of the. Do you remember the Doctor Hatfield tricep bar? One of those, if I can get a hold of it. Yeah, round beside the head. But that's about it. I'm pretty happy with the setup we've got for now. So I don't really intend to go back to training in a gym unless I have to, for any reason.
What have you guys done like client front during lockdown? Because I'm assuming there's a number of audience that are obviously personal trainers, and fingers crossed this is the last of this shit. But if we do go back into rolling lockdowns again, like what have you done with your clientele over this period of time?
I've stayed in contact with my clients, but I shut my business down. My one-to-one business, I shut it down like completely. I didn't try and find loopholes. I didn't try and work around. I know people have. I don't judge anybody. If they did, I know people that have got gyms that are still bringing clients into their gyms to train them. Like, to be honest, from my point of view, I think I probably needed to be away from it for a little period of time. So, I've kept my online business going, and I have been growing that slowly through the lockdown. I kind of looked at it as being forced to pivot a little bit more, and kind of been forcing my hand on something that I felt was going to be happening organically anyway over the sort of following 12 to 18 months. So from my point of view, shutting down the one-to-one business wasn't really something I was that bothered about. And when the lockdown does end, I'm only going to be doing sort of part-time one-to-one personal training, because it's I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it can drain you very easily. If you get the wrong type of clients, it can drain you. So I'm very, very particular about who I train, and the people that I do have on board that will be coming back after the lockdown are people that energize me. They don't drain me. So I don't intend to bring other people on to try and fill my diary up, because in order to do that, you end up with one or two people that suck energy out of you, the energy vampires, and that's not for me. So I shut my one-to-one business down as per the sort of rules, same as everybody else, and just pivoted to online. And I've got clients in the US, Canada, Brazil, Germany, the Netherlands, the UK. So some of them have access to gyms, some of them don't. So, the ones that are in the UK were doing home-based workouts. The ones that have got gyms available to them are training. I mean, the ones in Brazil can do whatever the hell they want, regardless of what's going on. They just, there's no real concept of shutting anything down there. They're just like, nah, we're on. But I've got. Was that bud?
Go on, Jay. No, finish what you said.
I've got clients, like I said, I've got clients in Canada and multiple clients in the US who they're in different situations, all of them. Some of them have got access to gyms, some of them don't, because of the way that this, the various states or the various provinces in Canada are running. so I think it's interesting because it's kind of made me a little bit more kind of flexible on the way I would set up training. So previously, you kind of go into those gym based. I'm not really, if you're training at home, then perhaps you should consider joining a gym. Whereas now it's like, okay, well, you can't join a gym because they're not available to you. So let's be a bit more open-minded about training methodologies, and let's appreciate that during this time. And I mentioned this to Rob. I think it was on one of the live calls, right? So I asked on Instagram about can you still make progress, and I had a whole bunch of competitors come back saying no. And I was like, no, actually, yeah, you can, because you can look for the limiting factors and you can remove them. So the limiting factor is something like your aerobic base. Then you can improve your aerobic base. And then when you get back to the gym, you'll make better progress. So overall, yes, you can. You could work on mobility. You could work on your flexibility. You could work on your understanding of tempo and your body control with calisthenics. There's lots and lots of things you can do to get yourself into a position to be able to make the most out of the gym when it does reopen. You can spend time working on and improving your nutrition so that by the time the gyms do open, you've got that dialed and it's one less thing to worry about. You can just attack it. So I think it's been good from that point of view. It sounds weird, but I've quite liked being in lockdown. Like, I want out, don't get me wrong, because I hate being told what to do. Like, you guys know that's right. I'm unmanageable. This is the reason why I'm largely unemployable and I have to be doing my own thing, because I cannot be managed. So people telling me what to do makes my skin crawl. The fact that I was told you have to stay indoors. But I'm sneaking out, right? I mean,
yeah.
And
you'll just get on Twitter and just like harass
essential journeys, right? Yeah, I had lots of essential journeys. But God, yeah. Otherwise, all that ends up happening is I spend all day on Twitter trolling MPs, members of Parliament, because that amuses me. Not in like a nasty, aggressive, sweary kind of calling them names sort of way, but in a more kind of witty, interesting, fun sort of way. Just calling them out.
I think you hit a key thing there. Is like I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people made with training during lockdown was this thought that they're trying to do it like their gym routine, and it was never going to quite be the same. It's like I'm just going to do the same workout but more reps, and it just doing a 25 rep bench press isn't as fun as doing a 6 rep bench press. And so, as you said, like, find something that's going to be mentally stimulating in a different way that also allows you to get more out of the stuff you really enjoy when things open back up. Rob, you opened your Thanos Fast Lane during a lockdown. So like, how have you approached opening a business during this time?
Like, obviously most people are coming and the keys in the name as well, Fat Loss Fast Lane, but that's what most people were coming for. But the first thing we did was have a conversation on what have we got available to us. Because again, I'm similar. I've got some guys in the UK, got a couple in Oz, one in America. What's the situation? What do we have available to us in terms of, do you have kit at home? Do you have a park you can go to? What have you actually got that we can use? And then what will be the ideal outcome over these next couple of months, obviously starting back in January, and we're still going through another lockdown. Rather than me pushing my idea on them of, right, you've come to me to lose fat, so we're going to train this way. No, you need to sit on the internet 20 hours a day until you can find a website that's selling dumbbells, because you need dumbbells. And this is the thing that does my nut, I understand we have to add some sort of creativity to how we're getting clients to work things, but some of the things I'm seeing of people creating an incline press using 20 different pieces of furniture, none of which are actually stable or solid at all, and you're just watching the vid going, oh my god, what if they're gonna fall off in a minute, and what is it actually doing apart from making you look like MacGyver?
I did. It wasn't necessarily for people to see and try and replicate. It was for me. I wanted to try and create something that was a similar sort of feeling to being in a gym, right? And I ended up, we've got these big pillars, like big metal pillars that run through the building. So I've got 2 yoga blocks and 3 bands, right? So I put first band around the pillar, and then I've put a yoga block, then the next band around the yoga block, and then another yoga block, and then the third band around that, so that there was like tension from the start. With the cat, I've got a set of CAS handles on there, and I've got a back on this like Aerotex foam pad against the pillar, and and I've created like a machine press. And I'm like, this is brilliant. The problem is, as soon as you put it down again, the whole thing falls apart, and then you're trying to put it back together without it all going wrong.
Yeah.
Then you've got to try and swap it out for something that Victoria can do. Nah, get me a rack. Like, let's get a rack. I mean, this rack was £450. 450
Right, yeah.
full cage. And it's short too, so it fits into the room without it being right up against because they're almost all, when you look online, almost all the racks that you can get are like 2.25 meters, right? And most of these places, the ceiling is 2.2 meters. So like, you just can't squeeze them in. So this is a short, it's a garage rack. It's designed to fit into smaller places. And it's fine. I mean, the only thing I wouldn't be able to do is like standing military press, and I'm never going to do that anyway. So, it's perfect. Even if I could, with the ceiling being at 2.2 meters, I'd put the plates through the ceiling when I hit that overhead position. She's just brought me a cup of tea, replacing the cup. Yeah.
Oh, a new mug.
That's right. So yeah, it wouldn't have been any better getting a tall rack. When we were planning an eventual move, and we're looking for a place that's got an outbuilding where we can actually put more kit in and have a bigger gym. And when we do that, then I'll look at replacing the rack with something a bit bigger, and probably offload this one on Tom Morgan.
I mean, I found with like all the gym kit as well, like people end up like buying so much gym kit as soon as the gym's shut. One that's they're never going to use, it just collects dust. Even if they use it during lockdown, it's not. And then they'll get the adjustable dumbbells. And I have not met one person where they've lasted more than 3 weeks before one of them breaks. Yeah. So you end up doing like 1-arm floor presses. Like this is the most stupid thing I've ever seen. Mine broke trying to do. I used to carry them down from my building to the little sort of like park outside mine, and I finished an outdoor session with my client, came back up, and almost broke my foot as the base just broke off the bottom and just landed on me. I was like, this isn't worth it. It really, really isn't.
I did when the first lockdown happened. Like I ordered some 50-kilo dumbbells from Wolverson, right? And because of the fact that everybody had done this, there was like an 8-week waiting list. So I had to wait 8 weeks for these 50-kilo dumbbells to come through. And bearing in mind that going into lockdown, like I could press like 65s. And so I'm thinking 50s, that'll be all right. I'll get some volume work in. Yeah. 8 weeks later, the 50s arrived. Could I floor press them? Could I fuck? Right. I ended up doing nothing but RDLs with them for the whole of the first lockdown. The whole of the first lockdown, that's all I did, Romanian deadlifts with these 50-kilo dumbbells. And, when the lockdown, when we got this kit in and we had the bench and stuff, then it was like, okay, well, now I can do some stuff like some rows and some bits and pieces like that with them. But Jesus Christ, 8 weeks of no exercise or no real sort of proper training, it vanishes on you. You don't use it, boys. It's gone. I mean, luckily we did get this kit and obviously worked back up to being relatively strong again. Simon's frozen. Must be the Hawaiian shirts.
Am I still on there?
You're back.
It's too much the background.
I mean, are you being back in gyms?
So going on. Huh?
You are freezing like that Hong Kong internet Sucks balls.
I know. Yeah, mate. It's terrible. It's a communist country. It's shared with every person in the area.
You have to be careful of what you say, Simon, because there is new laws in Hong Kong. They're not allowed. There's no dissent allowed.
I was so I was just off the back of what I was trying to say with what Rob was saying about you find out what equipment they've got and work off something about that. I'd like to challenge you boys with a case study of a genuine online client that, do you remember Johnny Reese?
Yeah.
So he had this online client that wanted an online program, and I want to see how you guys would handle this. The only bit of equipment he was willing to have was a trampoline. And he wanted a program every month based on a trampoline only. I'd love to see how you boys would take that client. I'm sure, JP, before you say you wouldn't, that ruins the game.
I mean, you know, I'd have told them to do one. Like, you know, I mean, I would have said, like,
yeah.
I'm not an entertainer, right? You want me to train you? I'll train you. That's not training. Like, you can use that for your cardio. I don't have a problem with you using that for your cardio, but I guess you're doing a whole bunch of calisthenic stuff, a whole bunch of bodyweight stuff, and I'm guessing that because you're taking this as seriously as you are, that you're not that bothered about the results you get, and that's how I would have put it. Look, I had a client.
What was you done for his cardio?
I had a client that checked in the other day, right, and he's not a big guy. He's a smallish guy in terms of his frame, and so the amount of protein he's on is not very high. And he complained because he's having a hard time hitting the protein goal. And I was like, look, we can find ways to do that, right? And his suggestion was, it's a lofty goal. Can we try and, reduce it? And my response was, do you want to lose muscle? Like, I'm going to be blunt. And, this is kind of, when anybody signs up with me, like they're signing up with me on the understanding that I'm going to be honest with them, that sometimes that's going to be blunt. I'm not going to mess around. There's going to be no sugarcoating. I'm not going to be, nicey about things. I'm just going to say it how it is, right? And if that's what you want, right, then that's why you're signing up with me. You're not signing up with me because I have this effervescent, pleasant demeanor. You're signing up with me because, like, I'll tell you when you're doing good, and I'll tell you when you're doing bad, right? I don't tell people off. I'm not. Everybody that works with me is an adult. Like, I don't. Like, if you're gonna eat like an idiot, then I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you off. I'm gonna tell you this is the reason why you're not moving in the right direction right now, and these are the things you need to put in place to move forward. And these are the reasons why you're eating this way. But you can see it's been a mistake. You've made a mistake. If you make a mistake more than once, you're no longer making a mistake. You're making a choice. So it's up to you, right? We're all adults, yeah. But I'm pretty blunt about it when I tell somebody I don't mess around. I'm not gonna try and pussyfoot around a topic. I'm gonna tell you what I think and what I believe is the best way forward. I will look for compromise in certain circumstances. I think it's easy with things like a protein goal. If you're having a hard time eating a protein goal, there's loads of ways to bump protein intake without having to eat massive amounts of food. But if you're having issues, I've got we've all got them, right? We've all got clients. There's another client who will regularly miss the protein goal and sort of complain about it's hard to get the protein in, and yet smash the carbs like nobody's business. It's not really an appetite problem, right? It's a planning problem. You're not planning properly. And some people have got more decision-making privileges than others, right? So sometimes you have to rein that back in. Sometimes you get to give more decision-making privileges back to people. I think that if somebody came on board and wanted to train on a trampoline and a trampoline only, I'd be suggesting that person's probably taking the piss. That would be my. Are you trying to be funny?
Right, it was probably white. Probably Whitehead in disguise with an email address. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that would be my response. Would be you're being funny, right? You're not being serious because, like, I mean, a trampoline. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I got a guy that will work well for you. His name's Simon. He's based in Hong Kong, but he is, as far as I know, the expert on trampoline-based training. That's what I would do.
Dude, I couldn't even do a flip.
Huh?
I can't even land on my feet. I'm not the guy for you whatsoever. I've got 3 left feet. It is not going to work.
I did trampolining in high school. Like I was one of the. I did a short course on trampolining, like a 40-hour short course on trampolining, and got taught a whole bunch of stuff.
You should know.
Like, but it's not like, dude. I fractured my I put my knee through my eye socket trampolining. I fractured the orbital bone.
I mean, that's the story.
Fractured my nose all the way down into my eye socket. Now, I was blind for a week in one eye. Well, the swelling went down. Yeah, there's like
You're the only guy who could try and make trampolining macho.
Finger into your eyeball, like over your eyelid, and there's like a black dot appears. Like I had that for a week.
You only gotta make trampolining macho in any way, shape, or form.
Smashed my knee through my face. Trying to do double front flips, no less. Really bad idea.
There you go.
Almost made it. I managed like literally 1 9/10 of a double front flip. Whammy. Nose was over here. Literally, like all the way over. Blood everywhere. And I've walked in and I said to my this is my ex-partner at the time, I said to her, you get me some tissues, and she brought me a tissue. Like, and I'm talking like literally just pouring out of my face, just blood like everywhere. And she's brought me like this hanky, you know. And I'm like, can you go away and get me a towel? Can you just go away? Oh God.
Yeah, I've got a similar story. I tried a front flip once in my life and never ever again. When I landed with my tooth, the one that's not very nice, into my knee, and it came out. So I had this thing like I had to pull it out of my kneecap, which was And the annoying thing is, I was so certain I was getting close to hitting it, and it's the time where I go, "Hey everyone, look! I hit it!" Bam! I can headbutt my knee. It's like, of course, it was a time when I made myself have an audience.
Brilliant. Oh dear God. What about you, Rob? How would you handle the trampoline?
I would come at that angle of this geezer's fucking with me.
I would 100%, if that came through my inbox, I'm referring that to Simon.
I would want to fuck with him back though. I'd be like, right, okay, if trampoline's all we're going to use, we're gonna fucking use it, all right? So 100 back.
Anything that comes through my inbox that's shit, I'm referring to Simon. Nope, not dealing with that. I got a guy for you in Hong Kong.
Who do I refer? Who do I refer them to? We can get this in a chain. Well, eventually, like 7 degrees of separation back to Kevin Bacon. Eventually, it will come back to JP again.
Yeah, like, motherfucker, didn't I refer you? Not doing it. Refuse.
I remember, slight tangent, but it sort of runs the same thing. Like this is an old joke that I've heard been told, but this generally happened once on New Year. My parents used to own this pub called the Two Brewers in Luton. Yeah. It used to be a pub that's on a corner, so you had door on one side, door on the other side. And there's this Irish fellow that was getting plastered. And my dad comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, you've had a few too many. I can't risk losing my license. I think after this one, you've got to be on your way." So he finishes his drink, he goes out, and he comes around the corner, he comes back in the other door, and he goes, "Hey man, I've told you before, you've got to go." So he comes out, comes in the other door again, on the corner. And he goes, right, it's the last time I'm going to tell you, you need to get out. This guy looks my dad up and down and goes, do you know every fucking pub in this town? It's like, generally happen.
Brilliant. Right, and on that note, boys, I think we could call it a day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening.
It's been a pleasure. It's been fun.
Yeah, we have been the three amigos. No,
Voltron, Team Voltron.
Team Voltron. There'll be another one real soon.
Cheers, guys.